My child, I didn't speak right away. When I first saw it, I couldn't. Not because I didn't want to, but because some truths are so heavy, even heaven pauses before revealing them. There was a silence, not the kind you hear in an empty room, but the kind that fills everything, the kind that makes even eternity hold its breath. Because what I saw was your life, your path, your future. And you need to understand this isn't here to scare you. It's here because you are closer than you think to a life that was never meant for you. There are rare moments when time bends, when what could have happened and what will happen stand side by side. And in that moment, I saw both. I saw the version of you that almost broke, the nights when your strength was barely holding on, the mornings when you smiled but felt completely drained inside. I saw the questions you never said out loud, why everything felt delayed, why people kept leaving, why nothing seemed to fall into place. And you thought you were alone in those moments, but you weren't, not even for a second. While you were fighting battles in your own mind, something else was happening that you couldn't see. There were doors you desperately wanted to open, opportunities, people, situations, and when they closed, you thought it was rejection, you thought it was failure. But those doors didn't close against you, they closed for you, because behind them was pain you were never meant to carry, betrayal that would have changed you, loss that would have broken something deep inside you. Before any of that could reach you, everything was stopped, quietly, precisely, completely. You didn't notice it, you just felt confused, maybe even frustrated. But confusion was protection in disguise, delay was timing working in your favor, and loss was actually rescue. There were people around you who didn't truly want to see you rise, conversations that sounded supportive but weren't, decisions made about you without your knowledge that could have changed everything, but they didn't, because something stepped in and ended it before it began. What I saw next is why it affected me so deeply, because I saw how close you came to losing yourself, to giving up, to believing you weren't enough or that your time had passed. But you didn't give up. Even when it felt pointless, even when nothing made sense, you kept going, and that changed everything. Your future isn't built on luck or chance, it's built on endurance, on quiet strength, on a kind of faith that refused to disappear. But there was another path too, one where exhaustion won, where doubt became louder than hope, and that version of your life was closer than you realize. That's why this message matters now, because something has shifted, the path has changed, and what was meant to harm you has already been stopped. You're not in danger, but you were close enough that everything had to move before it reached you. You may have felt it lately, that strange sense that something is different, even if you can't explain it, like your thoughts are shifting, your energy is changing, your perspective is evolving. That isn't random, that's alignment. You're standing at a turning point now, with everything that tested you behind you and clarity ahead of you, the kind of clarity that finally makes your past make sense. You're going to understand why certain people left, why things didn't work out, why timing never matched what you expected. And when that understanding comes, it won't hurt, it will free you. You'll realize nothing you lost was truly meant for you, and everything that stayed was preparing you. New people will come into your life who won't drain you or confuse you, people who will recognize your value without you having to prove it. And the peace that comes with that may feel unfamiliar at first, because you've been used to surviving, not simply being. You've also been quietly worried about your future, your stability, your direction, even if you haven't admitted it out loud. But what's coming isn't just enough, it's steady, it's secure, and it's meant for you. You won't have to force it or chase it, it will come because you're finally aligned with it. The heaviness you've been carrying begins to lift, the exhaustion fades, the noise in your mind grows quieter, and you start to feel like yourself again. Not the version of you that was just trying to get through the day, but the version of you that actually feels alive. For now, don't rush, don't force anything, because this moment isn't about action, it's about alignment. Stay grounded, trust what you feel, and let things unfold, because everything happening right now is precise and intentional. And when doubt tries to come back, because it will, remember that doubt gets louder when it's losing its hold on you. You are guided, you are protected, and you are exactly where you need to be, even if it doesn't fully make sense yet. What stayed with me most wasn't fear or sadness, but relief, because the future that almost happened didn't, and the future that is coming is better than anything you imagined. So don't look back with regret, don't question your journey, and don't underestimate what you've already made it through. You didn't just survive, you moved beyond it, and now everything is beginning to come together in ways you'll soon understand.
My child, there is more you need to understand, because what I was shown didn't end there. The vision went deeper, beyond what you've already felt, beyond what you've already survived. I saw the season you've been in, the waiting, the silence, the moments where nothing seemed to move no matter how hard you tried. You questioned yourself more than you admit, wondering if you were doing something wrong, wondering if you missed your chance, wondering if maybe you were meant to stay stuck. But you weren't stuck. You were being prepared. There were things being built inside you that could only grow in stillness, strength that doesn't break under pressure, awareness that sees what others miss, and a quiet confidence that doesn't need validation to exist. What felt like nothing happening was actually everything falling into place in ways you couldn't yet see. Also saw how certain relationships shifted, and that confusion weighed on you more than anything else. People who once felt close became distant, conversations lost their meaning, and connections that once felt natural started to feel forced. You tried to understand it, maybe even fix it, but nothing brought it back to what it used to be. That's because it wasn't meant to go back. Some people couldn't walk into your next chapter with you, not because you or they were bad, but because they were only meant for a part of your journey, not the whole path. Their distance wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Space had to be created for something better, connections that don't confuse you, don't drain you, and don't make you question your worth. The people coming into your life will feel different, and you'll notice it right away because with them, you won't feel like you have to prove anything. There's also something important about your future that you've been quietly carrying in your thoughts, your stability, your purpose, your direction. You've been trying to figure it all out, trying to plan every step, trying to make sense of what's next, but what I saw wasn't something you forced into existence. It came naturally, almost unexpectedly, but in a way that felt right the moment it arrived. Opportunities begin to open, not all at once, but one by one, each one leading you forward without confusion. You won't have to question whether it's right for you, you'll feel it. And the security you've been searching for doesn't come as pressure, it comes as peace. It allows you to breathe again, to stop overthinking every decision, and to trust where you're being led. I saw your energy changing too. The heaviness you've been carrying starts to fade, and not suddenly, but in a way that feels real and lasting. Your mind becomes quieter, your thoughts become clearer, and the tension you've been holding in your body begins to release. You start sleeping better, thinking differently, and reacting less to things that used to overwhelm you. It's not because your life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you become stronger, calmer, and more grounded in who you are. You begin to understand that not everything deserves your energy, and that realization alone changes everything. But listen closely, because this part matters. As things begin to shift, there will be moments where you feel the urge to rush, to act quickly, to grab every opportunity, to fix everything at once. Don't. This isn't a time for rushing, it's a time for trusting. Everything unfolding in your life right now is happening with precision, and forcing it will only create confusion. Let things come to you. Let clarity build naturally. The more you stay grounded, the easier everything will flow. And when doubt shows up again, because it will try, don't let it convince you that nothing has changed. Doubt tends to return right before things fully align. It gets louder when it knows it's losing control. So when you hear those thoughts again, the ones that make you question yourself, your path, your worth, pause and remember how far you've already come. Remember the moments you thought you wouldn't get through but did anyway. That same strength is still with you, and it's guiding you forward now. The final thing I need you to understand is this: what's coming into your life isn't random, and it isn't temporary. It's something that matches the version of you that you've become through everything you've faced. It's steady, it's real, and it's meant to stay. The future you were worried about is no longer uncertain in the way it used to be. It's forming, step by step, in a way that supports you instead of testing you at every turn. So don't look back and wonder what you could have done differently. Don't hold on to things that have already let go of you. And don't underestimate the shift that's already happening within you. You didn't go through everything you went through just to stay in the same place. You were being moved, shaped, and prepared for something better. And now, without you even realizing it fully yet, you've stepped into the beginning of that new chapter. My child, there is still one final layer you need to understand, because everything you've heard so far is only preparing you for what comes next. The vision didn't end with clarity or relief, it ended with something deeper, something steady, something that stays. I saw you stepping fully into a new version of your life, and at first, it felt unfamiliar. Not because it was wrong, but because it was peaceful. And peace can feel strange when you've been used to chaos, when you've spent so long trying to figure things out, fixing what kept breaking, holding on to what kept slipping away. But this time, nothing feels forced. Nothing feels uncertain in the same way. Things begin to settle, not all at once, but enough for you to finally feel like you can breathe without waiting for something to go wrong. I saw you moving differently. Not reacting the way you used to, not overthinking every situation, not questioning your worth the way you once did. The things that once triggered you lose their power, and the situations that once drained you no longer have the same access to your energy. You become more selective, more aware, more at peace with letting go. And that's when everything starts to change in a real, lasting way. Opportunities don't just appear, they align with you. The right people don't just enter your life. They stay, and they show up consistently. There's a sense of stability that begins to build, something you can actually rely on, something that doesn't disappear the moment you start trusting it. I also saw something you haven't fully allowed yourself to believe yet: you begin to trust yourself again. Not halfway, not with hesitation, but fully. You stop second-guessing every decision, stop looking for validation in places that never gave it to you, and start moving with a quiet certainty that doesn't need to be explained to anyone else. That confidence doesn't come from ego, it comes from everything you've survived. It comes from knowing what you've been through. Through and realizing that you made it out stronger, wiser, and more grounded than before. And once that trust in yourself is restored, it becomes the foundation for everything else. But here's what matters most in this final part of the vision: this new chapter doesn't require you to struggle the way you did before. You've been conditioned to believe that growth has to be painful, that progress has to come with constant pressure, that success only comes through exhaustion. That belief begins to fade. You start to see that things can come together without draining you, that you can build something meaningful without losing yourself in the process. Balance becomes real for you, not just something you hoped for. You learn how to move forward without carrying everything from your past with you. There will still be moments where the old feelings try to return, where doubt tries to remind you of who you used to be, where fear tries to make you hesitate. But those moments won't control you anymore. You'll notice them, understand them, and then move past them. That's the difference. You're no longer stuck in cycles, you're moving beyond them. And every time you choose not to go back to old patterns, you strengthen this new version of yourself even more. The future I saw wasn't dramatic or overwhelming, it was steady, clear, and real. The kind of life where you feel grounded, where your relationships feel genuine, where your direction makes sense, and where your mind finally feels at ease. It's not about perfection, it's about alignment. It's about living in a way that actually feels right for you, instead of constantly trying to adjust yourself to fit. So as you move forward from this moment, don't look for signs that something is about to go wrong. Don't wait for the peace to disappear. Let yourself experience it fully. Let yourself trust it. Because this time, it's not temporary. This time, it's built on everything you've learned, everything you've overcome, and everything you've become. You've already done the hardest part. You've already made it through the confusion, the uncertainty, the moments where you felt like giving up. What comes next isn't meant to break you, it's meant to support you, to grow with you, and to stay with you. And even if you don't see the full picture yet, you are already walking in the direction of it. So keep going, but go forward with calm instead of fear, with trust instead of doubt. Because the life ahead of you isn't something you have to chase anymore. It's something you're finally ready to receive. So as you move forward from this moment, don't look for signs that something is about to go wrong. Don't wait for the peace to disappear. Let yourself experience it fully. Let yourself trust it. Because this time, it's not temporary. This time, it's built on everything you've learned, everything you've overcome, and everything you've become. You've already done the hardest part. You've already made it through the confusion, the uncertainty, the moments where you felt like giving up. What comes next isn't meant to break you, it's meant to support you, to grow with you, and to stay with you. And even if you don't see the full picture yet, you are already walking in the direction of it. So keep going, but go forward with calm instead of fear, with trust instead of doubt. Because the life ahead of you isn't something you have to chase anymore. It's something you're finally ready to receive. My child, this is the final thing you need to hear, the part that brings everything together. What I saw at the end of the vision wasn't just your future, it was you, fully standing in it, no longer questioning, no longer waiting, no longer carrying the weight of everything that once held you back. There was a calmness around you, a quiet strength that didn't need to prove itself to anyone. You weren't chasing answers anymore because you had become the answer. The confusion that once followed you was gone, replaced by a deep sense of knowing that can't be shaken by outside noise. I saw you looking back, not with regret, but with understanding. Everything that once felt like a setback, every delay, every loss, every moment you thought you were being pushed backwards, it all made sense. You could finally see how each piece led you here, how nothing was wasted, how even the hardest moments shaped you into someone stronger and more aware than you ever thought possible. And instead of asking, why did this happen, you quietly realized, this had to happen to get me here. There was something else too. What stood out the most wasn't something big or dramatic, it was how steady everything felt. Your life wasn't built on uncertainty anymore. The people around you were real, consistent, and supportive. Your path made sense. Your mind felt clear. You weren't constantly preparing for something to go wrong. Instead, you were present, grounded, and able to actually enjoy where you are without fear interrupting it. That's the life you've been moving toward this entire time, even when it didn't feel like it. And here's the truth you need to carry with you after this,